Antoinette Tate has gone from public housing to owning her own home. This single mother and her daughter have only lived in this Northside home since June, but after years in public housing, it's a dream come true.
When I did the closing, they gave me the keys and everything, and when I walked in this house, I almost thought it was a dream. It's like, oh my God, I'm in my own house. I'm not in Hillside right now. Waiting on an inspection, you know? And after that, I mean, I still today, I still think it's still a dream.
Antoinette was a resident of public housing for 9 years. With help from the Milwaukee Housing Authority, she went back to school, got help with job counseling, a full-time job, and moved out of Hillside Terrace.
All kind of things just popping up all of a sudden where they needed access to my apartment. And I just didn't feel like the privacy was there. And so I felt that my dream was always to have my own apartment. I mean, to have my own home, to have a big yard, a garage, someplace where my daughter can play safely, something to call her own, just like, you know, I would want to call my own. Something that I could remodel myself, something to add a little more life to, and that's what led me here.
Antoinette's home is one of nearly 300 scattered site, single-family homes that are owned by the Milwaukee Housing Authority. This one is unique. Most of the homes are older ones. The Federal Department of Housing and Urban Development gave the city the authority to sell up to 50 of these homes. 45 have already been sold to public assistance families.
They either have to be living in public housing or else on rent assistance with the City of Milwaukee First. We have an application process. They have to have a certain amount of income in order to qualify for the program. They have to have a good lease responsibility. In other words, they have to not be under eviction, getting along with their neighbors, paying their rent regularly.
The home ownership program has a minimum income level of $14,500. Payments, including taxes, cannot exceed 36% of income. HUD requires homeownership counseling for applicants who are pre-screened with reviews of their credit and savings history. The properties are sold at the appraised value. The Housing Authority can offer a forgivable second mortgage and works with 5 lending institutions.
And what that does is it does a variety of things. Number one, it adds tax value to the city tax roll. 2, it reduces the number of HUD subsidy dollars that go towards a given housing authority. And then thirdly, it really improves the neighborhood in terms of just adding homeowners to a community. That always goes a very, very long way.
Helping public housing residents achieve independence is especially pleasing to Alderman Hines, who is very familiar with public housing.
Well, actually, I was born in Hillside Housing Complex. Raised in Highland Park area and grew up there. My history is from the City of Milwaukee Public Housing, a community that I'm very proud to have been reared in, but more importantly, now being the chairman of the Housing Authority, City of Milwaukee, a position in which I had never or dreamed of or never knew would ever come to existence.
Does it give you a better appreciation for how the people feel who are buying these homes?
Well, without a doubt. Actually, the Housing Authority, I've always viewed it as an interim route to some stability in the future. And although we provide excellent housing opportunities, we really do want to not only provide housing opportunities, but we want to improve the economic conditions of our residents. There have been families like myself and the family in which I was raised who, back in the 60s, in the early 70s, this was a stepping stone to economic empowerment, and we're trying to really reawaken that for our residents.
Antoinette's home was built with federal HUD funds under what is called a Hope 6 grant. The homes were part of a $45 million grant to revitalize Hillside Terrace, the public housing project just north of downtown. Exteriors and interiors were changed. More than a dozen apartment buildings were demolished. 12 mini neighborhoods were created with lower population densities, more open streets, and green spaces. 79 units were replaced with single-family, scattered site homes. A new family resource center offers a health clinic, daycare center, recreation, and counseling opportunities.
The project, once completed, was outstanding. Hillside has received national awards from HUD, speaking just to that, how it has opened up the street grid once again, made housing developments more inviting and more of a community feel.
The 61-year-old Park Lawn public housing development is now in the midst of a similar revitalization, with a $34 million federal grant to renovate and rebuild the complex. The money is being used to rehab 380 substandard units. 138 others are being demolished. The cleared land will allow creation of public streets and create sites for 40 new homes for owner-occupants. The funding will also be used to buy and renovate 20 single-family homes in the area and provide Park Lawn residents with job training and placement, education, child care, and counseling services.
And what it will do, actually, it will transform what we now know as Park Lawn. We will open up Park Lawn to the broader Milwaukee community, putting street access in it, both north and south, street grids, and east-west. We will, currently we have around 513 residents that are living on the grounds here. We will reduce that by some 100 residents, but what we will then do is create home ownership and build single-family homes right on the grounds of Park Lawn as well, and we will then purchase up additional property in the surrounding area.
Residents whose homes are being demolished will be given first opportunity to move into the new units and buy the new single-family homes. Antoinette's success story is one that the Housing Authority believes can be repeated throughout the city.
We have not lost any of these. There has been no foreclosures on any of the houses that we sold, so we're very, very happy with that because we prepare them every step of the way. They go through home buying counseling and credit counseling, and we get them to the point where they qualify for a conventional mortgage. They have to work themselves with our help and home buying counseling to the point where a bank says that yes, they are going to give them a conventional mortgage. You know, a lot of the closings are so emotional. It's really, there's tears, there's hugs, sometimes it's 2 or 3 generations of dependency that's broken when they sign on that line. There's no more subsidy, and it's real moving at times. It's very, very terrific feeling to be involved with a program like this.
Antoinette Tate says it took some effort to go from being a resident of public housing to being a homeowner, and she'd like to see others who are receiving public assistance follow her example.
I think some people just don't want to look forward to the fact of the extra bills, the extra responsibilities, but they just don't understand that it's worth it. I just think that getting your own home is a great investment, and I don't think a lot of people really know or really think about the fact of how much better it is to have your own place. It's more work, but just think you're in your own home. I wouldn't even care how much work I have to put into it. It's just the fact that it's mine.
The revitalization efforts at the Hillside and Park Lawn housing complexes are only the beginning. Lapham Park could be next. The city has applied for a federal grant of about $10 million. The senior citizen high-rise would remain. Apartment buildings with 198 units would be torn down and replaced by a mix of townhouses with 122 units.
I think in the 50s and in the 40s and the 60s when they were built and some say as an institution or institutionalized, it projected that type of image. And we most definitely, under the new leaders, want to make certain that that's not the case, that these are truly neighborhoods where you have families that are equally as concerned about their well-being as any other surrounding neighborhoods, communities, cities, many other towns.
For 60 years, stray animals picked up in Milwaukee or in the other 18 municipalities in Milwaukee County were taken to the Wisconsin Humane Society. But as the sign at the entrance tells us, strays are now to be taken to a new facility, the Milwaukee Area Domestic Animal Control Center. Humane Society officials say they would have continued the service, but the county decided to put the animal control services into a separate countywide program.
Well, there are two main differences. There are services for animals that are mandated by the state of Wisconsin, and there are services that are social services. And the services that are mandated by the state are being provided by MADACC, and the social service side are being provided by the Wisconsin Humane Society.
The Milwaukee Area Domestic Animal Control Center, also known by the acronym MADACC, is located at 39th and Burnham in West Milwaukee. MADACC will now handle all the stray dogs, cats, and other animals picked up in Milwaukee County. In 1998, that added up to nearly 12,000 animals. The center will be responsible for the shelter, care, and disposition of stray animals, either lost or found, animals running at large, quarantined and impounded animals, and they'll respond to animal emergencies.
So our responsibilities, as I mentioned, is to respond to stray animal complaints. We've also been out to several other instances involving, cruelty and neglect. And we also have an on-call officer at nighttime to help handle with hit-by-car animals and transport them to emergency care. So that's our basic role and function is to handle all the straying animals within the communities.
The Animal Control Center will be open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and on Saturdays from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. An answering service will handle after-hour calls. To claim an animal, stop at the center or call 649-8640.
With our computer program that we have, our people working, our client receptionists in the front office can actually look up on the computer to see if anything matching that description has come in. We also take a found or lost report. Then we continuously look at the computer to check, but it's always, and I really stress this having worked in this line of work for so many years, that you take the effort to come down to the facility and do a check, because one brown tabby cat can look like 250 other brown tabby cats. It's really important. Not only do you call us to check, first of all, to see if your animal's here, but also to come down to the facility and look. Also check your local, grocery stores and stuff like that. Look at where they put flyers. A lot of times people put little flyers, lost pet. It's really important to look at that, and hopefully, through that effort, we can relocate your pet for you. Another really good advantage, and if you haven't done this to your animal already, is to get a microchip implanted. I know it sounds big brother type thing, but basically it's an injection of a chip between the shoulder blades. We scan all the animals that come through the shelter. So if we read a microchip, it's easier to get an identification.
The Humane Society will be accepting all adoptable stray dogs and cats from the Animal Control Center that are not claimed by their owner. The Humane Society will then provide the services necessary to ready the animal for adoption.
The process is the same as it was, but people can come in and they are greeted by an adoption counselor who takes them through the animal area, shows them the available dogs or cats, whatever they're looking for, or rabbits or guinea pigs, etc. And then they work with the person to find just the right match.
Both agencies remain committed to saving animal lives, eliminating animal abandonment, and preventing animal suffering. They will work to lower euthanasia rates. MADACC will provide that service when necessary.
Which is, a sad reality, but until, everybody gets involved and works together to promote educational aspects that promote responsible pet ownership, unfortunately at this point would be considered a necessary evil. But we look to continue to reduce those numbers. We will be really focusing and getting out into the community. My background, I've always been involved in getting involved with the community, doing educational programs, whether it be schools for adult groups, that type of thing. And our focus will be education, because for us, that's the key to reducing the majority of unwanted pets in the community.
With MADACC concentrating on animal control issues, the Wisconsin Humane Society will continue to be a full-service shelter. Animal welfare services will include the adoption program, accepting unwanted animals, rescuing and rehabilitating wildlife, and providing animal education and outreach programs.
We are broadening our education. We're also making sure that every animal that leaves our shelter is altered before it leaves so that it cannot contribute to the overpopulation problem in the community. So 100% of the animals that are adopted from our facility are already spayed and neutered before they walk out the door. And we are expanding our services, our adoption services, our outreach and education, and our veterinary services. Will now be providing low-cost spay and neuter services when we move to our new facility for people who otherwise can't afford to have their animals taken care of by a veterinarian.
The Wisconsin Humane Society will be moving in November to a brand new building at 45th and Wisconsin. Private donations and adoption fees will continue to pay for its animal social service programs. Animal control services provided by the Milwaukee Area Domestic Animal Control Center are funded through the county property tax.
I think it's a really exciting time for Milwaukee County and for the animals in the community because we have two groups that are looking out for the best interest in animals, and we're both going to be working from nice new facilities that help us to do all the things that are really important for animals in the community.
You all right? Yep, feel the door, back your hand. It's hot, so what are we doing? We go to the window?
Yeah.
All right, we can get out. Use the ladder going on, all right?
It's a fun experience for those who go through the mobile Survive Alive house, but those who do are learning at the same time. The goal of this and other fire prevention programs is to save lives through education.
We sit them down and very quickly go over stop, drop, and roll in case your clothes catch on fire. If you find matches, how to go find an adult, don't touch them. But primarily, we talk to them about how to get out in case there's a fire in the bedroom. Talk about how to sleep with the doors closed and what to do when the smoke detector goes off.
The mobile Survive Alive house simulates fire conditions in a first or second floor bedroom with theatrical smoke, lighting, and electronically controlled warm doors.
Does everybody sleep with their bedroom doors closed?
No.
No?
Yeah. No.
No. Okay, I knew that we were going to get to that one.
I do.
One of the things that you have to do is you have to sleep with your bedroom door closed, because if there's a fire in some other portion of your house and your door is open, guess where the smoke is going to come?
In the room.
In your room. And it might not wake you up. It might put you to sleep even in a deeper sleep. So one of the things we stress here at the Fire Safety House is smoke detectors in your house and sleeping with your bedroom door closed. Now, the first thing that you do when you hear the smoke detector go off or you see and smell smoke is you roll out of bed and you get on the floor and you get down low. Does anybody know why we get down low? One of the major reasons is that the air, as you get lower, is better to breathe. The higher you hold your head up, the more smoke you're going to take. And smoke is not a good thing in fire. Smoke is one of the most dangerous things in the fire. We get down low on the ground. Everybody get down low on the ground. Keep your head down low. That's important. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the door and feel the door with the back of our hand. Okay, how does the door feel? Feels kind of warm. Are we going to go out that door? No. Okay, everybody look up. You see how the smoke is coming down? You see how it's clear down here? Okay, that means we have to stay low. So now we can't get out the door. That means we have to go out the other way, or the window, right. Okay, so we're going to move and we're going to go out the window one at a time, okay? And we're going to be safe. All right, keep your head down. All right, go ahead, go on out. When you have to go out a window, you have to make a lot of noise, especially if you're on the second floor or the third floor. You have to throw things out to make sure that someone can find you up there, because no jumping is allowed, okay? No jumping out of windows.
Milwaukee school children visit the permanent Survive Alive house on South 20th Street in the 2nd and 5th grades. The mobile unit, paid for primarily through private donations and the Survive Alive Foundation, reinforces that program.
Well, we needed a mobile unit because we wanted to bring the fire safety prevention message out to the community, much like this event here. When you have festivals and fairs, that's a great opportunity to take it and bring it to the kids and bring it to the areas and let them see and go through it. Like I mentioned before, if you're in the 2nd or 5th grade with Milwaukee Public Schools is when you go through the stationary house. Well, this way we can get everyone, we can encompass all ages. So if for some reason they didn't get an opportunity to go through the stationary house, now they have an opportunity to go through the mobile unit, which is very similar, and we teach the same lessons.
And the firefighters say the children are learning those lessons, and most know what to do if there is a fire in their home.
Tremendous. As a matter of fact, when we put the kids in the rooms, a lot of times we have to tell them to kind of calm down because they're busy telling us about stop, drop, and roll, about escape ladders, about fire drills, that kind of thing. So a lot of the kids know exactly what's going on, and they know exactly what to do.
The mobile Survive Alive house travels to neighborhood gatherings such as this block party on North Fond du Lac in August. It also stops at schools, daycare centers, and playgrounds.
Yes, you can request this unit at any time. Now, it's difficult to request it in the summer during festival season because it goes to every festival. But during the times on the weekends or during the weekdays when those festivals are not going on, then you can request the mobile Survive Alive house at any time. And if it's not booked, then we bring it out.
The mobile unit is housed at Engine Company 36 near 27th and Capitol. And the firefighters say this part of the job is also important to them as they work to minimize the loss of life and property in the city of Milwaukee.
When you think of firefighting, people think of backdraft, towering inferno, that kind of thing, car accidents. This is nice because while we'll still do that on a regular basis, like as a matter of fact, we go back to the engine house, then we'll go back into that particular firefighting mode. This gives us a chance to get out and interact with the community in a non-emergency function, as opposed to rushing in, get out, taking out windows, for a reason, mind you, and putting out the fire. So this is a lot better because we interact on a one-on-one, non-emergency level, and that's real sweet.
The illustration on the Midtown poster is not that of a single house. It is a composite of details on the 3rd floors of the large duplexes that are abundant in Midtown. Working-class settlers reached Midtown first and began to line the block south of Lisbon Avenue with modest frame homes. Wealthier residents who arrived later built many of their large homes on and around Highland Boulevard west of 27th Street. The Midtown neighborhood's early residents were primarily German, but it is now a diverse community of many ages, ethnic groups, religious backgrounds, and income levels.
I would say Midtown is a hidden gem. It has an excellent housing stock. There are a lot of wonderful people in this community that's representative of all economic, social backgrounds. I think it's a wonderful place, and we're strategically located, and I think that's the key to Midtown.
The Midtown Neighborhood Association is a driving force behind efforts to revitalize the area. It's located in Leo Tiefenthaler Park, named for a man who was part of the early German community in Midtown. Urban renewal and plans for a freeway resulted in the demolition of many homes in the 1960s. Neighbors responded by forming the Midtown Association. The organization now offers many resources to residents and businesses.
What we're trying to do is marry the newer homes with the older homes. We're interested in rehabbing the older homes. We're interested in also doing some work with a lot of the vacant land in the areas. We're also very interested in bringing in an infrastructure in the community. We're interested in increasing services, commercial and retail development.
Some Midtown businesses, like Bright Foods, have improved their exteriors with the help of the Midtown Neighborhood Association and the city's facade grant program. Trinity Tool is another business that's taken advantage of that program, which offers businesses a 100% match in renovation funds. Sharon Lerner works to bring redevelopment resources into the neighborhood.
We want to help the businesses. We want them to be profitable. We want it to look like a good place to do business so that others will come and locate here. One of the main areas that we've chosen to focus in here at Midtown Neighborhood Association is to start a loan fund. Through the community development block grant process, there was some money allocated to start a revolving loan fund for businesses. We got some banks to come in and leverage that money. So now we're just trying to make that work. make small commercial loans in the Midtown area.
The Midtown neighborhood is a mixture of the old and the new. Older homes dominate the area. There are historical properties such as the Charles Abrish House at 2126 West Juneau, a home on the National Register of Historic Places. A house moving program years ago brought in homes that had been slated for demolition as Miller Brewing Company and others expanded. Modern construction is also here in the very successful City Homes development on Midtown's north side. The area is home to schools such as the High School of the Arts and McDowell Elementary, one of the oldest public Montessori schools in the nation. Like other neighborhoods, Midtown has a variety of religious denominations. St. Michael's, a towering Gothic-style church built in 1893, remains among the area's most prominent landmarks. Betty Glosson has lived in the neighborhood more than 40 years.
I kind of play two hats. I live in the neighborhood and I work in the neighborhood. I've been on the board of Midtown. I've been an active resident of Midtown. So right now I'm a community liaison. I work with residents to help stabilize the neighborhood, to establish block clubs, work on crime issues, and some recreation.
Why are all those things important?
They're important because this neighborhood is important. This is a really diverse neighborhood in terms of the people that live here. We have, you have really everything that you really need in a neighborhood. So it's important to continue to work on the neighborhood, to continue to stabilize it. It's a job that's never done.
Portia Williams spends her days with some of the children of Midtown, operating a daycare center at 27th and Valete. She has also seen changes in Midtown over the years.
Yes, I've been here for about 30 years. I've seen the place when it was built up. I saw it when they tore all the houses down. I've been here now that they're doing the redevelopment.
What do you think about what's happening?
I think it's great, and I'm even trying to help. I've bought three buildings over here, trying to rehab them to help along with the progress, and things are looking much better.
Portia expects to have the exterior of her building looking much better as she also takes advantage of the city's facade grant program.
I'm working with Midtown Neighborhood Association, and they're doing this facade grant with the city, and that's where we pay half of the monies and they pay the other half, and they do the outside work on the building.
Midtown, one of Milwaukee's oldest neighborhoods, has its problems and its problem areas. But those who are working and living within the Midtown community, who have seen the good and the bad, are positive about its future.
I'm encouraged about what's happening. I just want to make sure that, you know, all the people that live in the neighborhood are involved in that process, that people have a say-so in, you know, the changes that are coming about. And I think it's really important, because then once people have a say-so, then they also take ownership of the area, and they're willing to work to stabilize it.
I just want more money to be put into the area so we can just do what needs to be done over here. And more homeowners, if they would help us, things would be much better. But it's looking up.
It's sort of a hidden community, because I think if you drive out Walnut, you pass out Valete, you don't realize what's in between up and down these blocks, and there are a lot of wonderful residents. And I think, you know, we're on target in terms of moving forward.